coming to you live from the troubled town of Hammanskraal today as we count the week in which a month essentially has passed since the first case of the cholera outbreak was reported. And since then, I'm afraid many people who we've spoken to have decried the lack of action, the lack of change, beyond just perhaps just a visit from the president. So what we're going to try and do for you today is try drill down to the real impact of this outbreak by speaking to some of the members, family members of those who've died, those adversely affected by what's taken place here, and get you a sense of, from their perspective, what they reckon needs to be done in order to ensure that at least there isn't a repeat of the devastation that's really covered much of this particular town. But let's get you first a sense of what to think about as we embark on that journey. And joining me now as we stand outside Jubilee Hospital is Advocate Newzroom, who we've spoken to before, certainly giving us a whole lot of context around how we got here and the extent really of the impact of this particular outbreak. And Advocate, once again, it's great speaking to you. Thank you very much indeed for making time.
Thank you very much for having me. I greet you and all your viewers at home.
You know, when we arrived here, it was pitch black, but we were greeted by that strong sulfuric stench which covers much of Hammanskraal. You can already tell before you can see anything that something has gone horribly wrong where we're at. Help us perhaps place whether you think there's been any difference since the president arrived a week ago tomorrow.
Since the president arrived here, there has never been anything. No change, no even better communication from the government. We are hoping that there will be probably a better campaign towards this issue. Maybe they will be communicating with people on few different things that they need to know about what should be happening. But still so far, we have not yet heard or seen anything happening. In essence, since the president left, things are still the same. They even became worse.
Sure.
Because I'm getting more pictures, more people are complaining about the bad water that come out of their taps, which I wanted to go and see those families so that it's not like we are lying about the situation. So things are getting worse by the day.
Yeah. We're standing outside Jubilee Hospital. It's been the center of a lot of the reporting around the story for quite some time. But you've already told us that it only tells part of the story.
Yes. Remember today serves as the anniversary of our of the first cholera death here. Since it's a month, almost full month. The first case reported was here at Jubilee Hospital. But as it is right now, death is no longer happening only in the hospital, it's happening in the community everywhere. And this hospital here, without damning them or condemning them, they have served as some kind of guards of the situation. They are not helping the situation anyhow. Yeah. As much as even now, for you to broadcast here, they wanted to expel you. You saw how the security were furious with you behind the scene. I wish you could have captured that. Right. They have been expelling family members from seeing their people here. People have been in casualty for 4 days. Some died in casualty, were admitted later, and families were called after hours that your people have died. Some were discharged and they went home to die at home.
Yeah. You almost get a sense that there's an effort to prevent people from seeing what's actually taking place inside.
They don't want to expose the situation. They don't want the people out there to know exactly what's happening. Actually, around this issue of cholera and Hammanskraal water, there is a strong mafia tactics. That's why the guy who was here, when you ask him, he said, I want to talk, but I don't want to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, they'll kill you, you talk here. Sure. Here, no one must talk about this issue of water. No one must talk about the treatment in Jubilee Hospital, because you put your life at risk.
Right. Just for the sake of the viewer watching, I mean, just before we went on air, there was a gentleman here who also decried the extent to which he's had to deal with the dirty water in this area, and he, you know, you're right, he didn't want to really come on camera because in some ways he feared for his safety. What does that do for our ability to really get to the bottom of what's taken place? Because even, you know, you've said before that this number of 29 people that have died, as far as you're concerned, it's way higher, and if people are afraid to speak to us, you can get a sense of how that can easily be swept under the rug.
Actually, some families, when we call the meeting just across the road here, we call the meeting across the road, they refuse to come. They said they are scared that if they take a legal action, they might be dealt with wrongly by local politicians and also some of these guys who are benefiting from the situation. Now, as it is now, We have to go to their houses, secretly administrate this for justice to be served. And honestly speaking, I can tell you the honest truth. This water of Hammanskraal water is very deep. And this situation of cholera here, it has got a whole lot of government propaganda behind it. So now, let us say we are perhaps here dealing with what is beyond what we see, which we are yet to uncover and understand what's happening. But the truth is that this matter is deep.
Yeah. There's a whole lot more than what meets the eye, in other words.
Yes.
Again, geographically speaking, where we're standing, you were still explaining to us that there are communities that essentially surround the hospital itself. Help us better understand where you reckon really the heart of the devastation actually lies.
Okay, let me explain it this way. You know, when you go this side is your Temba, your Unity, your Stellenbosch. This is almost kind of advanced area where you have a sewer system, where they are mostly professionals. People buy water for themselves and stuff. But then when you go this side, you have your Kanana, your Skampaneng. When you go other side to Surman, your Majaning. This side, people are not working. People are not able to buy water for themselves. Instead, they rely on the truck. And if you check this side, in Kanana, that's where more people died.
Yeah.
That's where more people died.
That's where we're hoping you might be able to take us. I mean, you've spoken of a family as of this morning when they opened their tap. Still, the water is visibly probably unsafe to drink.
Exactly. It's this side of Temba where the water is. You will report when we get there. You will see what is happening. Where the water has got all kinds of particles,
right,
which is not much that anyone can drink or even wash with it.
Yes.
So the situation is continuously becoming bad.
You know, as you and I have been standing here, and I'm sure our viewers can see, the town is going about the business of the day. I can't help but notice that. From the outside, we view this as the kind of story I imagine that would take over people's lives. But despite the devastation, people are trying to make do with what they can. From what you know, how are they doing that?
Look, life cannot stop. People have to eat. They have to work for their families. As you can see, our mother here is doing a small business. Other people are setting up their stalls there. Life has to continue because poverty has a grip on the people. And people are unemployed. Some definitely are employed here to come and do the work. But at the end of the day, they are scared of death. Yesterday alone, we had a case in Kekana Gardens, which is across, where two sisters passed on. Thursday night, I got a call that our sister passed on, one of the family members passed on, had the same symptoms of cholera. When I went to visit the family around 12 o'clock, another sister passed on, just 20 minutes before I entered.
Sure.
So the situation is devastating. Everybody's scared, but life cannot stop.
Absolutely. And I think many people also have their hopes on, I imagine, individuals like you, who is a legal practitioner, but also from this community itself. Shall we speak about the papers that you're hoping to file in court this week? I mean, perhaps take us through what kind of immediate recourse you're looking for and whether you have now gotten around to quantifying the amount of people essentially, or number of people I should say, that you're representing.
We are hoping that by far we have 90%, not 100%, because a large part of the people we are mobilizing for this issue, some of them are not able to get to us. Some of them, the network problems to get to them, the transportation, we don't even know the areas where they are. We are still working on that. But we believe that before end of business today, we should have covered almost everyone. Any case that will be new, we'll deal with it later on. And what we are going to court for, it's one basic issue. We want justice to be served. The legal processes that comes after that to say the burden of proof, to say has the government failed to provide water, so on and so forth, that has long been done. That is not an issue at this point. The issue at this point is to say who must take the responsibility, who is to be pointed at, because there is somebody who must be pointed at. When the South African Human Rights Report gave us a report that says the government has failed the people, has committed gross violation of human rights by providing water that is unfit and unhealthy, for people of Hammanskraal to be consumed by people in Hammanskraal. We need to know, our agent application says we need to know, what is the government? Who is the government? Who's responsible in that? Is it the president? Is it the premier? Is it the mayor? We want to know, to say who is really responsible in this case specifically. Is it the Minister of Water and Sanitation, the MEC of Water and Sanitation, or MMC? Once the court shows us under our agent application to say this is the office that failed you, then we are going after that office. Right. We are going to even open a criminal case against that, because violation of human rights is a criminal offense. Right. Since the human rights are, the Bill of Rights is the cornerstone of our constitution. Right.
Mwafrika Wamaila, for now, thanks very much indeed. Really appreciate your breaking it down for us in ways that you can, as we also try wrap our heads really around the extent of this particular issue. And, you know, it almost feels, the more you speak to people that I hear, that we're basically just scraping the surface when it comes to understanding what went wrong and what it will take to actually fix it. Stick around, we'll be here for you. And again, hopefully the next time we catch up, we'll be speaking to some of the families of those who've been affected by what's taken place. Michelle?